Cool. Yeah, I'm kind of nervous because I'm my celebrity guest.
You had filmmaker Ben Webb on.
I know, cool, right? Yeah. Did you listen to that one?
Oh yeah, the whole thing.
Did you cut some stuff out of that?
No.
I was like, we're experiencing technical difficulties, and then we're back. That part where I said like.
Well, no, I saw I wanted to ask you about that during the show. What happened when the phone goes sideways?
Oh, I just turned it. Just because I had a gimbal, and then it would just glitch out.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because I didn't have this, I was just getting equipment as I got along. So my gimbal was just for filming like.
So this is the best setup. Is an iPhone.
Not the best, but it shoots in 4K.
Yeah.
But I put it in 720, or I put it in 1080p because YouTube only goes that high.
Yeah.
And I put 30 frames a second. I could get a better camera, but I asked around, and my film friends are like, just use that. If it's not primarily video.
Yeah.
On YouTube, everything that you've seen on YouTube is just my phone.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's okay. So.
It's good enough. I mean, when you're having a conversation, you don't need to see how gray the sheet is.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, if I had a better camera and the money, I would I'd probably get 2 cameras and do editing.
It's too much work.
Yeah. So it is too much work. Okay.
Because then you don't do as many podcasts.
It takes you longer.
Time
yeah.
All the time. I saw an interview between podcast Joe Rogan and Sam Harris, and Sam Harris was talking about how I spend all my time editing, and all you do is just show up, have a conversation, and throw it on the internet.
Well, Joe uses this thing called the TriCaster, so he can do it live, and it records everything as he does it. So as his producers in the background, like changing the screens and changing all the video and stuff back and forth.
Yeah.
When he goes live, it's recorded and done. They can go back and edit for sure.
Yeah.
On YouTube, but from what I understand, it's like it was recorded and done because the TriCaster will push it live, and they can do all the editing within the system. It's an application that has the in front of it, the TriCaster. So I think it's it's TriCaster. Oh, I see. Okay. But it's a machine. It's like I've been trying to. They're like $15,000. Okay. So I'm not there yet. Yeah. You're not Joe Rogan yet. No, I don't know. Soon. I get more tattoos. Go to the gym more, and then I get a haircut. Did you see his first stuff where he's got his coif do? Yeah. See, you start with hair. By the time you're all-star, you can stressed out, famous. Yeah, right. Just buzz like me. Yeah, and he had a history of his comedic history is pretty deep. He's done some things where he called out some comedians for stealing material stuff. He kind of got shunned from comedy for a while, and but he's one of the reasons why I do a podcast. I love what he does. I'm not a big fan of his comedy. I've never really seen his comedy, but I love his podcast. Yeah, it's great. He's really interesting. He's a smart guy. And he asks terrific questions. Dude, I know, right? Like the best. Yeah, I'm not there yet, but yeah, you're getting there. I also watch a lot of other comedians. So Theo Von gives a podcast. I'll make if you want to watch some funny stuff, I'll make some notes after. Theo Von's funny. Andrew Santino's pretty good. There's one called The Fighter and the Kid. And Joe Rogan. It's kind of and Tiger Belly. What's the guy who retired from comedy and started to do a show in his garage? Mark Maron? Yeah, is that? I think Mark Maron. He did one. I think he's back into stand-up now because I see him I follow the Comedy Store in LA. And actually, somebody who does a live show from there started following me 2 days ago. Hello. Yeah. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so we've been live the whole time. Good. Thanks for coming to the show, Jack. I'm looking at the camera here. This is Jack Crompton. This is the mayor of Whistler. And somebody I've known for, casually, for 8 years, probably 10 years since I worked at Whistler Blackham in PR. Followed him on Twitter, and you haven't posted on Twitter in a while. I'm getting back to it. Okay. The whole becoming elected mayor has kind of got me. Okay, so all right, here we go. Yeah, so now I'm in the here we go. Cool. Yeah. This is the mayor of Whistler, and it's Jack. And man, I'm happy you're here. It's awesome. I'm super stoked. Me too. I'm glad you were on my list in the back of my head to get on here. But I thought I needed to get more clout. No. You heard of that? But I saw you in the parking lot yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah. You're coming down from skiing. Yeah. And when you said you were a fan, you listen. I was like, wow. I walked away. I was like, my brother was with me. And I was like, wow, that's surprising. I was really I was stoked. So thanks, man. It's cool. Well, I love podcasting, and I love that you're doing it here, and I love that I know somebody. Yeah, cool. There's a few of them in town. I didn't know this, but so Andrea Hellman does one. It's called Lawless. I think she just started it. There's the Low Pressure Podcast, which is Mark Warner. He's all about skiing. Yeah. I think the Man Boys do one. I think it's just them screwing around in the off season. And then there's I don't know, probably other ones. I've heard of other ones. I don't know the names. Oh, and there's one this Whistler Ski Bum. Yeah. So I have too many. My problem now is too many podcasts. You don't need a couple or a few. And you have to be selective. Right. Yeah. Of course. Yeah. For sure. Because they're long and it takes a lot of your time. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, well, thanks for coming. It's awesome. I'm
Pleasure.
stoked.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, cool. When you crack that, we'll cheers. But I'm not going to rush you into it.
No, it's good. Although I did again want to note that Miller High Life Champagne of Beers is a conflict with the name of the podcast.
Yeah, it's not that casual. It's a little bit more.
Yeah.
Anyway,
cheers,
buddy. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, it's good to hear.
Okay. Everybody can hear you drinking and swallowing, so whatever.
Yeah, I'll leave it.
It's cool.
Oh.
If you want some chocolate, there's some there. You're welcome to have some. Anyway, so we'll get into it, I guess. We'll ask some questions. But first question I have, like I said, I know you, but I don't know you that well.
Mm-hmm.
So, in 5 minutes or less, if you knew Worcester for a long time, what's the Coles notes of your Worcester background?
My grandfather built here in the 60s, grandfather and grandmother in the 60s.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well,
But
there you have it, folks. Yeah, we're done here. Yeah. No.
And so I was a weekender until I was 20.
Okay, cool.
And then I moved up here, maybe 22 after school's done and stuff. And then, it's always kind of been Magic Land. And for me, I grew up in Kelowna, so some of those trips, we'd leave at like noon on a Friday, and there was the Coke wasn't in at that point.
Right.
And it was a mission to get here, but it was always sort of in the winter, the snowbanks were high. I remember a little 6-year-old kid kind of coming into town. It was where family was, and it's where all the magic happened. It's where I learned to ski. It's where I swim in the lake.
Cool.
And it's always kind of been where I've imagined I'd kind of grow old, and so I've been here for the last 20 years. Yeah,
cool.
It's good.
Sweet.
I love it.
That's good. Did you? I guess you never thought you'd be the mayor of town.
Did
you have it in your mind?
No.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of figured that one day I'd like to be mayor, maybe 5 years ago.
Okay, cool.
And I wanted to work hard to be kind of ready when the opportunity presented itself. So I've been I think,
you've kind of been a man about town since I've known you.
Yeah, the getting ready part of it is very much, if you're going to be a plumber, you got to learn how to do the work.
Right.
There we go. Speaking to the mic. I wasn't
that's way better.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
cool.
Good. So I've spent the last 4 years really trying to understand how local government works and how communities can be better and how we can promote the good in a town, and so that's a big deal for me.
Well, it's cool because knowing where you've been coming since you were a kid, like it definitely is a good thing to think you have this town in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to know that. I don't know about any other mayors. I think I've met Ken once. I don't really know him, but I feel like they probably have a long history here too. But so I just feel I have a better connection with you. But I feel like it's good to know that the mayor of our town has been here, becoming here, and knows what it's like to.
Yeah, I think that's that knits us all together in this town. Everybody loves this place, and everybody loves these people. Like I feel like we found home, we found the people we like, and then we gave up on the rest of the world, and we've done whatever it takes to be able to stay. Yeah, and that's hard work, but it's so worth it.
Totally, man. I feel like this town is kind of like it's a collaboration or a collection of sometimes outcasts.
Uh-huh. So
like for me, I left my town because I didn't really fit in where I was anywhere I wanted to leave, and I had good friends there. But I came here and I found like other weirdos I could hang out with. We all do good things, and we became like a good town of people.
Yeah, so. And you're willing to give up being able to live near like a Costco and a hockey rink. Yeah, or I guess we have one hockey rink.
We got a bunch of hockey rinks, man. They're when it freezes.
True.
In this winter,
Alta Lake, baby.
It's been so cold the last month. I'm playing hockey a few times on the lakes.
Now you got me all self-conscious about people hearing me drinking in the mic.
Whatever, man. It's casual.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, man. I was eating gummies one time with my last podcast. I don't know if you heard that one, but it's just loud. It's really loud.
Anyway.
Anyway,
be careful.
Yeah, it's cool.
When did you come here?
Oh, yeah. I moved here when I was 24. So 2003, I moved here.
Yeah.
I was living in Ontario. I finished college, and I had my own business for a couple of years. I sold it. I was like, what am I going to do? And then I just kind of left town. I had a house, and I gave my house to my brother. We lived in the same house together.
What did the business do?
We used to detail cars. So when I graduated college, I had to do a co-op or I wouldn't graduate. So a friend of mine was like, what are we going to do? We're like, we're not going to graduate here.
Mm-hmm.
We're just kind of like bumming around. So a friend of my family's was opening up this business, but he didn't want to run it. So he gave us half the business to run it, and he just kind of funded it. And then there was this breakup in Ontario, or maybe it was Canada-wide, this thing called King Pharmaceuticals. And the guy who owned the business I worked for, he was heavily invested in it. and the husband and wife embezzled like $50 million in this company and left him flat broke, and a bunch of people flat broke.
Wow.
So he went from like Jaguar, huge house, Jaguar, and a fat
car.
house, yeah, to like a townhome and a Saturn, and that business had to make him money. But I was living at home with my mom. I was like 22 at the time, whatever. And I was like, I don't care, whatever.
Yeah.
He paid my truck payments or my gas for me, and gave me some food money. But my buddy that was with us, he was living on his own, and he couldn't take it anymore, so he pieced out. Really good guy, just understand the circumstances. He couldn't do it. So we sold it, and I was like, I don't need the money. He was like 70 something, you know. Like I can start.
The guy that had this all happen to him.
Yeah. And so I was like, you know what? His name was Don, really friendly guy. I was like, you know what, man, we're gonna sell this because you need out, and I don't need the money. So I took I think $2,000, and we sold it for like 50. We made good money. We doubled it. But I was like, I'm 21. I can start again. He didn't. He had nothing. So I gave him the cash. And I moved out here. My brother was out here. I lived on his couch for 2 months, and then moved back home and came back out here. And I started a job at Whistler Blackcomb, bussing tables. And then I wouldn't leave the marketing department alone. I just kept bugging them until they gave me a job. They're like, fine, Proctor, we'll give you a fucking job. So anyway, now we're here. But no, I think that's the thing, is the passion people have. You come here and you build a life, and you just have this passion for staying here, and you fight through whatever it takes to stay here.
Oh, yeah. And days like today, skiing today is like stand up top a couple times and just look where you live and think, I'm glad I've stayed.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that this is home. And yeah, I always think it's people and place. Like we love people, we love place. This is it. This is where it all happens for me.
It's good, man. You get a chance to go up on the mountain to look around. I mean, you get your kids with you, and you're like, this is what we plan to do. And even if we didn't plan it, we're lucky to be doing this.
Yeah.
And luck is part of it, but also the hard work and the dedication, like you said, to forego some things and just get here and make it happen. So, well, it's cool, man. Okay, so you've been the mayor now for 2 years, or no, not even
4 months.
4 months.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
No, all good.
I was
all
just
good.
multiplying it by a lot more than I thought. I didn't finish math.
It was bad math.
I didn't finish math. That's why I live in the mountains. Yeah, that's why I'm a PR guy. I don't marketing guy. We don't do math. We don't do budgets. So 4 months. Yeah. Okay. Holy shit. So, but you were in council for a while.
Yeah, 7 years.
Yeah. So okay. Right. Yeah.
I've been around it for a while, but 4 months is
right. Shit, man. I feel embarrassed now.
Yeah, no.
Anyway,
don't be embarrassed. You can edit it out. It'll be all good.
I'll be like 2 years, 4 months. Yeah. Just like random voice. Okay, so being mayor, I mean, you come from the council, so you've had to deal with some, political stuff along the way, obviously. But being mayor, when you're in town, and you're walking around, and you have obviously people who like what you're doing, people who don't like what you're doing.
Yeah.
To be honest, so people know who you are, obviously. Yeah. Do you find that, like, let's say, like, compared to like Facebook, and you get trolls, it's people who are shitty. They get shitty, and they're publicly shitty about things.
Yeah.
But in real life, are people that way to you about things?
No, I mean, it's. Everybody you see around town. People are polite. They're kind. I guess what's been the most sort of uncomfortable for me is people don't. What's going on? Like there's less of like my sort of
bro down.
Like and fair enough. It's kind of weird that now I have a different role and I have an office. Do you know what I mean? There's. I was chatting to a mayor of another community over the weekend, and I was saying how uncomfortable the language that's used to refer to mayors is. The actual term is your worship, and it's really kind of off-putting.
That's not casual at all.
No, zero, not casual at all. Right. And that's been strange. But her point to me was, This is not about you. It's about the office. It's about the fact that our community has a person that's in that role. It still makes me feel uncomfortable. And some of those people who I had casual relationships with and who really felt like I connect with now look at me kind of, how do I deal with you now? And that's weird. But other than that, I mean, our town is our town, and I love how passionate people are, and when people are upset, they tell you. And I love that. I mean, I wouldn't get involved in local government if I didn't want to hear what mattered and if I didn't want to participate in that discussion. So even when people are upset and they stop me in the grocery store, they always say, "I'm sorry." And sorry for saying this. And I'm always like, "No, don't apologize to me. Yeah. Like I took this on because I'm passionate about our town, and I want to hear the good, the bad, the ugly. I want us to be better than we are, and I want us to aspire to take care of ourselves and to be a community that really sort of digs in. So no, I think you're right. Like online, people are vicious and crazy.
Yeah.
But when you see people in town, it's a Whistler.
It's cool because it's cool to think that you're willing to hear the both sides because you want to make the town better. So if you're not willing to hear the bad, the town's gonna get worse.
Totally.
If you're not willing to address the bad and just work with the good, the town's gonna get worse, and there's gonna be way more bad.
Agree.
So I think that's pretty cool. And to see you out and about in town and skiing and just like being a regular guy is kind of cool. I mean, I think there's, I guess that's a small town, and you've been here for so long. You are the town. Like you don't need to be something different than you were before when you became mayor. So I think.
And the temptation though is to not. I mean, that's because there's lots to do. But I feel like a big part of the job is to be a part of what's going on.
Just be a person.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Like I was thinking in my head, I'm like, does he want to drink a beer on air? I'm like, you probably will, because if you don't, the town is about that. I'm not saying people I'm not saying people drink beer all the time, but like,
town is about the champagne of beers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it is.
It is pretty. Yeah, man. Speaking of champagne, during the Olympics, I was working for Whistler Blackham when I was at. It was the only time Whistler Blackham ever gave me a budget to buy stuff.
Yeah.
Because the Olympics were here, and they're like, spend whatever you want.
Yeah.
They justify it and
Bill the federal government.
Yeah, I bought 12 bottles of champagne at once at when it was Shabbat's Beagle, and it was the Jamaica House.
Mm-hmm.
I lined them up on the bar.
Yeah. We
poured the whole bar, a glass of champagne. And I was like, I'm going to get fired for this bill. But it was Henkel. It was like shit champagne. It was like whatever. It was like $40 a bottle.
Yeah.
But that's my biggest champaine story that I have in town. So,
that's good.
But I think because that's one question I want to ask about the Olympics too. In your mayoral time so far, I know the Olympics have kind of like disappeared in our talk of like the town. It doesn't come up anymore. Do you think that it was too short-lived to talk about it and celebrate? Like I know it says the home of the Whistler Olympics on the screen and stuff, or on the signs when you come into town, but do you feel like that's something we should be hanging on to more often, or do you think the Olympics is kind of tainted now, and like as far as
No, I mean my grandparents were up here dreaming about the 1960 Olympics in 1964. I just as part of the election campaign, I was Ben Webb, former what do you call me right now?
You're the mayor.
Guest on
Guest
on this show.
You're the mayor. Yeah.
Ben Webb, former mayor of Ben Webb, former guest on the show.
Yeah.
And I were doing interviews with some people around town.
Yeah.
And just because I felt like it would be important for me to share what I see Whistler as. And what I see Whistler as is a lot of the people that have really kind of put into this place over time. And one of them that we interviewed was Gary Watson. And Gary was talking, and Gary's in his 70s. He was here in like 1961.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really interesting.
That's really cool.
And he was talking about how, we had this dream for the Olympics. We were going to bring it here in 1968. And it twigged in me. I was like, was this a Vancouver Olympics or was it a Vancouver Whistler Olympics? No, he was like, it was a Whistler only Olympics.
Yeah.
So imagine in 1961, these people sat around and started to talk about building short track, speed skating,
in Whistler,
ski jumps, hockey rinks, and there was no road. So, I mean, like we started with crazy delusional ideas about what we would become, and we've become that. And I don't think that it'll always be a part of why we are what we are. Right. But I think we're as much a ski town. I mean, his point was, obviously we didn't get the 1968 Olympics, but from that moment forward, the die was cast, and we were going to be a ski resort. And I think we're more of a ski resort than we are an Olympic venue. And I think that we're more a town full of people who love to ski and bike and be in this incredible nature that's around us than we are a place that wants to put on a curling event. I mean, seriously, we are who we are, but I think we'll always have that history of putting on the games, and we don't talk about it much anymore, but we still have ski races and we still do what we do. Yeah,
that's cool. I'm just curious about that, because I mean, I was part of it, but the legacy to me seems to have died a bit, but I think we are a town that people just come here to ski.
Yeah.
And they still do. And eat food and everything else. So, that's cool. So, I think it's cool that you're willing to be like I would imagine some mayors, or when things get kind of tough and dicey, they're like, I'm going to stay in my office. because I don't want to deal with this. And I would imagine in a bigger city you have way more to deal with. But in this town, I mean, you have to be going through like slapping high fives with people to keep. That's what this town is, right? So it's cool. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions just because this is more of a more broad questions, I guess. But I'll get some other stuff after. But in this current state of Whistler, do you see? I'll start with the good stuff. Actually, you know what? I'm going to ask you what you see future. 2 things that you are not optimistic about, or that need some serious attention to in Whistler in the next, say, 10 years.
It's easy for me. Transportation and housing. I mean,
Right.
and it's been number 1 on our list for this council to really
for a long time,
dig
even
into.
before, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it's been number 1 on everyone's list, but maybe not the council's list until maybe you came along.
Well, I think that we were working on it, but the urgency just has built, and we have a lot of good work that was done in the last couple of years to get us ready to actually put shovels in the ground. But now we just have to put shovels in the ground, and we've got, I mean, this big one that's coming in across the street here. A couple more, but we're going to open up a whole new section of land sort of above the terrace and the heights.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, yeah. And back by the road there.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I heard about that.
A huge amount of housing that needs to come on, and we just need to, I don't think you fix housing or fix transportation. I think it's the type of thing that you have to stay on all the time, and we just need to put our minds to it. Everybody wants to live in Whistler, and so we could build this place out to be sort of, pave it wall to wall, and high rises everywhere, and you'd still have people that want to live here. Yeah. But we need to do the right housing for the people who really call this place home, who make it all happen, and so that's housing, and then on transportation. This road is tough, challenged, man. And I think I really want to dig in hard on transit and actually make it work for people. You don't think to yourself, wow, what time does the schedule on the subway go? You just show up, right? Because it's always there. Right. And I think that's the kind of transit we need if we want to actually transition people away from single occupant vehicles. But to me, those are the 2 sort of existential threats to our town that if we don't get right, and if we don't pay attention to and keep on top of, we'll regret it.
Do you think that transportation...
And sorry, the 2 are connected.
Yeah.
One of the big decisions made by former politicians and by our community in the past is that we are focused on allowing our community to live in town. Like if you're an employee in Aspen, you don't live in Aspen. Right. You live 45 minutes down the road. Same with Vail. You don't live in Vail. You live half an hour down the road. Right. And that was, I think, a really important decision for our town, is that we are going to do whatever it takes to allow our community to stay in town. So Aspen, 8% of the workforce live in Aspen. Vail, 30%. We're at 81%.
Yeah, we are, for sure.
So it's a terrific success, but a one that is challenging. If we don't, keep pushing forward, we'll regret it.
Do you think that, so you offer transportation, you figure out ways to create increased transportation. So someone like myself, I'm going to put myself under the bus here, for lack of a better term. I'll drive places because I'm like, if I could wait for the bus and not drive. Yeah. So I'm a little bit guilty. But I think offering the transportation, do you not think that education is more important? You need to offer the transportation and the options, but education and the people that come to our town, in my opinion, like people who have extra money and they have their SUVs and their big trucks, they're not going to take the bus, are they?
No, but I mean, we have the highest percentage ridership of any community in BC, and that's because we have seasonal workers. Sure, yeah. And I think that when you moved here 20 years ago, had the transit system been one that you just trusted like you trust the subway, you may not have gone down the path of becoming so dependent on your vehicle. And I think my kids are growing up in a time where that kind of transit is a focus for a lot of communities, and it's a focus that I certainly have here. I want my kids, when they're 20, to not be saying, well, I have to have a car, but saying, you know what, the easiest thing to do is actually get in the bus, go to the village, get back on the bus and come home, and it's I don't need to check a schedule. So education, but I think just a system that is
reliable and just like there.
Yeah. And I think part of it is it has to be robust enough that you know there's always a bus there. Right.
So, and you can't stop when it snows 2 feet and the bus can't make the hill. You're going to be screwed anyway. Doesn't matter how many buses there are. Can't make up the hill. You're not going to get there. But I have a question though. So when you talked about earlier, I don't know if we were on air then, but you talked about amenities and you said like, you know, we don't have Costco. We don't have these big things these big stores that kind of make the town not so small anymore. But I feel like transportation is limiting me to needing to go get like, if you want to go shopping, if you want to people go do big shops in Squamish to save money because it's expensive up here to buy groceries and stuff. And the city's so close and Squamish so close and mountain biking is something that's close. Do you not think that amenities would help slow or negate the need to have people have their own transportation?
Of course, if we built Costco's and
I don't want to, but I'm just saying like.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think though that we value this place as it is more than we value Costco's and Home Depots everywhere. I think being realistic about our transportation challenges, like you say, if I want to go shopping, sorry, Jack, I'm going to go to Squamish. Right.
I don't do that. I feel like I actually have a thing where I try to shop here as much as I can because I feel like.
I apologize.
No, I agree because some days I'm like when I pass through Squamish, I'm like, I better stop because almond milk's cheaper down here. Yeah. And I want almond milk. So, but I think because affordable.
Is it really milk? Like
almond drink, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I guess in my fridge. I just
don't like how we're using milk for things that aren't milk anymore.
You're right because it's milk. It's not milk. You're right. I think it's just so people can be okay with like they can register what it means because it's like it looks like milk.
I know, but did we? Yeah.
No, it's just water. It's just like pressed almonds.
Yeah.
That's not milk.
Which is awesome.
You can't milk an almond. I don't know if you can or not.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm just thinking like. Because affordability all around, like groceries, housing, gas, everything. Gas is cheaper here than it is in Vancouver. So that's one thing that's better.
Yeah. Well, you asked me for two. There's a lot more than two. And I think
I'm just thinking of how many things intertwine with that idea of like transportation. So yeah, like I said, I might go off topic, but I think the transportation thing is huge. And I think it's cool that you have so much effort towards it. Because I think like when I'm on the bus, when I need the bus and the bus is there, when I'm like, say I've been in the village and I've had a few champagnes.
Yeah.
The bus is perfect. Yeah, it's great, right?
Yeah.
So I get it for sure. And I think, the struggle for parking and everything else, and it's busy. And I think, do you think there's a realistic way to get people out from the city with transportation that's great? I know we see like the snow bus and there's that new shuttle from Squamish that guy's got, which is really great. Mm-hmm. Do you think that you can cut down on that city traffic with a transportation program?
We already have. I mean, we've been really reducing the number of people that rent vehicles at the Vancouver airport. Mm-hmm. And I think Snow Bus and Epic Rides and all of those are examples of transportation that actually services people in a way so they can get out of their cars. Okay. One of the interesting things that you'll see is that most people that commute from Vancouver in cars have all the seats filled. Right. Actually, and so a lot of the vehicles that are truly single occupancy are you and me for sure. In our trucks on the road. Sorry. And so no, I mean it's just reality. And so I think that yes, I mean and we can get better, and we are getting better. The whole world is moving towards more mass transit options, and I think one of the most exciting things for me is to try and be really thoughtful and intelligent about the way we actually roll these things out so that we can actually deliver transportation that works. Right. One of the basic things that is interesting to me, I met this transit scientist guy who writes books on transit. Yeah. And he did a whole bunch of research on what kind of transit works best. And you have frequency or coverage. And so the idea being either you can hit every house in a town, or you can have lots of buses along main routes. Right, okay. And his sort of mantra is frequency is freedom. Because, as I referred to earlier, if you just know that the bus is there, you'll just show up. Yeah. If you have to check a schedule that, I just missed the bus 2 minutes ago and now I have to wait 45 minutes for the next one, not so trustworthy. Yeah. And so he talks about taking your transit from going
That's okay.
everywhere.
Here's everything.
I know, I'm all nervous about this. From going everywhere to staying along sort of central corridors and increasing the total number of buses that go by. Okay. So we're testing that right now with the number 10 Valley Connector, which is a bus that actually goes from Cheakamus and Function to Emerald, and it doesn't go into any neighborhoods. It doesn't even go
cool.
into the village.
Just runs the gauntlet straight up the highway.
Yeah,
That's
which I think and hope that if that kind of a service can be more regular and you can trust it, it's the type of thing that, well, it might not go and pick you up in your Nordic, neighborhood, but at least you can get on a bus on a fairly.
I can go to a house party in Emerald. I live in Cheakamus and just get home on the bus.
Exactly. That's why we did this.
For sure. Yes.
So Proctor can get to parties and back.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Safely. Yeah. Oh man, I had a question. I was going to ask you something about transit. So the buses that come, like the snow bus and everything else, but I'm just curious. I don't know if you know this, or I've always been like, Greyhound goes away, probably a business decision based on Greyhound, not the traffic here, and the PCL changes their program here. So if we're growing the transportation, if we're growing the ridership on buses and everything else from the city, any thoughts on why those? I mean, if you know any insight on why those companies would stop servicing this area?
Greyhound's the whole.
They tanked or something, right? I don't know.
No, the whole story with Greyhound is they're a huge multinational.
Sure. Yeah.
And the contracts that they had with Canada were such that they were the full suite of ground transportation around Canada. So instead of just giving them like Vancouver to Calgary to Regina to Winnipeg to Toronto, they said you also have to go to like Lillooet and Pemberton and everywhere.
Zero profitability zones where one guy's on the bus or
exactly.
whatever.
So which was a good balance, because for the last 50 years we've had our small communities serviced. Greyhound over time tried to back away and applied to back away from some of those sort of less those communities with lower ridership.
Leaves people hanging though, like big time.
So the provincial government said, no, you can't. You got to keep serving those small communities. And then finally Greyhound just said, okay, we can't do it.
Serving no communities now.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that was more structural and it was high level. I think what we're seeing in Whistler now is that the cream routes like Vancouver to Whistler is now really well serviced.
One bus run, and that snow bus. Remember that snow bus was like a beater.
Yeah,
that snow bus was like a guy pedaling.
It's
like it was Flintstone getting up here.
Flintstone,
for sure. And now I'm like, oh, that snow bus is fucking fancy, you know. Totally. I'm like, oh, because I saw it. Actually, I noticed it like maybe 2 months ago. I'm like, oh, snow bus. It used to be a school bus, and it was like hop on, $20, you know.
Oh yeah, and those Prevos, they're beautiful vehicles.
Yeah, that's cool. I think I'd be stoked if we ever get like the those buses like they have in like Asia and Europe and stuff, where there's like giant, you can sleep on them, and there's like big like limousine buses.
It's a 2-hour trip. You don't need a limousine bus.
I don't know, man. You can sit back, relax.
Okay, all right.
I mean, I'm not asking you. I'm just saying.
The other thing we're working on right now is we're working on regional transit, which would be like city bus that would connect Metro Vancouver to Mount Currie.
Great!
And it would be sort of lower cost.
Didn't they have that for a little while? Wasn't there a
tried it? And it lasted a couple of years. The goal will be that's very much workforce related.
Fair,
and
okay.
Allow you to commute to work.
Okay,
which would be great.
Cool. Yeah. Well, transportation dialed, nice, man. Cool. I'm glad we're working on it for sure.
Lots of work.
We're getting to it. I mean, but it's like the effort's there for sure. My car will be parked more often now that we talked. I feel guilty. So.
You've been sufficiently guilted.
Fucking damn, yeah. So I know we talked about housing a bit. I don't really follow. I mean, I kind of live my life and kind of work. So I'm probably guilty of not paying attention as much. But I'm going to ask.
Why would you be? That doesn't sound like that's guilt.
Too much skiing and biking and
stuff.
Too
much skiing.
Yeah, too much skiing and biking. I don't have time to pay attention.
You should not feel guilty about that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
no
great.
problem.
I appreciate it. So housing. How much? What's our deficit in housing right now? Like how far away are we from housing? Like I know there's a housing authority, which is what we're in right now, which is great. I don't know how long the list is. Like how long are waiting? How like bed numbers and stuff. Like are we in a big? We're in a pretty big deficit as far as that goes. But
we're exceeding our targets. So our target is 75%, and we're at 81.
Oh, cool. Okay. So why does that sound like it's so? Everyone's like all like.
Because I think it's back to the like. Of course, I am an employee of this town. I've been here for 6 months. I'm making this town go. And it's impossible for me to find high
renting
housing.
For sure is deadly hard for sure.
Which is what we're building right now. We're building rental apartment buildings with the goal being to be able to house more people in rental housing.
Cool. Because there's some rule where it's like if somebody does a development, you have to certain part of it goes to housing authority or housing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. It's like what is 20% or something like that, or what's the? I don't even know.
I don't
You don't
know.
have to give me some
Yeah.
direct answers.
I know. I'm not going to tell
You
you.
can send me an
Yeah,
email
I'm
later.
not
Or
telling
something.
you. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's secret.
You don't even.
I
Do you
think.
know?
No, I don't know. No, they're but we. So I want to get back to we're 81%.
Yeah.
Of our workforce is housed
Cool.
locally.
Okay.
But the wait list to actually access housing is long.
Right.
And so I think what we're doing now is that we feel like housing is something you have to stay on top of, and you have to be aggressive with. And then we're spending a significant amount of time understanding our list better.
Okay.
Who are we trying to
Yeah, I
house?
was going to ask you that. Okay, cool. Right.
In what kind of product are we trying to house those people?
Mm-hmm.
Because not everyone who wants to live in Whistler can live in Whistler,
Right.
which is kind of a sad thing to say out loud,
Right.
but it's the truth. I
Right.
mean, we've got 12,000 permanent residents, and I'm sure
Well, that's it? I thought it was more than that now. It was like 10,000 when I first moved here.
yeah,
Sorry,
we've-
sidetracked
we're
you, but-
that's pretty big growth.
Yeah, okay,
I
I
think
guess.
we're 12.5.
Okay, right. Okay. So back to not everybody who lives in Whistler should have a house, so go on to that. Sorry, yeah.
Well, I mean,
They should have a
it's,
house, but-
not everyone. No, everyone who I think we want the people who work here, who make this place
What it is.
Yeah. Be able to find housing here, and
Sure.
so that's the goal. It's
Right.
how do we house those people who make Whistler everything that it is.
Right.
And that doesn't
It's
necessarily
not
mean
easy.
everybody gets
Right.
housed, but it does mean that we need to stay on top of it, and we need to stay committed to it, and we need to, I think, catch up. I think we're behind a few steps on housing, although, like we just said, we're exceeding our target at this point. I guess my concern is what you don't want to do is see yourself drop off and lose the grip on.
Right, because you got to keep that pressure on the progression, right?
And increasingly, Squamish is becoming a bedroom community of Vancouver, so people are commuting south more than they're commuting north.
Right.
And a lot of people have in their heads that there's so much land in Pemberton, but that's all agricultural land reserve.
Right.
And so there's very little of it that actually can be turned into housing. So even if we had like a incredibly robust regional transit service that served Mount Currie to the Lower Mainland, we would still need to be as committed to delivering more housing here.
It's all about the livable density too, right? Like, like population density is key for us because we can't spread out.
Yeah.
We don't have that much room, so we're going up. We're going up. We're building levels
Yeah.
and building floors, or they're building out sideways.
Yeah. And hopefully stuff that is beautiful and fits
This
into
place
what
is
we're
fucking
doing.
rad, man. I've been here since I bought this place before the Olympics came in, and it's awesome. It's good living here for sure. It's great.
I have always felt like when you're standing in Cheakamus looking south, it's like you're on the ocean because it all kind of goes away from it.
It's cool, man. Yeah, because I don't have any. I got the new soccer field there. I know it's a bit of an issue with people.
Yeah.
It's awesome because now that I look at my window in the summertime, it looks amazing. Lights are on, super cool.
Yeah.
I hope it gets used. But when I see I don't have any just obstruction here yet, and I can see Mount Phi and everything else. It's great down here. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's a good spot.
Yeah.
I thought about population density because I see it being built around here. Things going up around here. I was like, and people have this thing where, I'm here now and no one else can come here. Like some people have that attitude. It's like, I moved here and they built the house for me, but you can't have a house here because
that same mayor I was
so
talking
weird.
to said the one thing you know is that the people that moved in phase 2 phase 1 will oppose phase 2.
And then phase 2 will oppose phase 3.
But which I think is
I don't, but
I know, but I think that the word NIMBY gets thrown around a lot.
I don't know what that means.
think it means not in my backyard.
Oh, sorry. It's okay,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But I think that's I find that to be such an offensive, crude term because from my perspective, what that means is I care about my neighborhood.
Sure.
And
right.
and I want to be able to participate in the conversation. And if we just throw NIMBY at people, all that you're trying to do is shut them up and not let them participate in the discussion. And I think good government means you participate in the discussion and we talk about what our values are. Do we want a phase 2? Do we want a phase 3?
Right.
And I think our town gets it. Like our town, when I speak to people in the grocery store, they generally are in favor of more housing for our permanent population.
Then we'll stop hearing about the issues. Like if we get more housing, people find a place to live. We don't have to hear about it anymore. We can keep working on it, but put more effort in other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did it again. I forgot I was going to ask you about the housing first. But the not in my backyard thing is funny because I feel like we should just be sharing our backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and
but I think most people think that. I think
Yeah.
I think the idea that everybody is sort of against like that whole phase 1 not wanting phase 2, that hasn't been my experience of our town. Most people are like, come on, Muni, like build some housing, like get on it.
Let's get some cheaper asphalt because we're building it right here. We're making it right here.
There you go. Game on.
No, I think that's I guess the other issue too is these empty beds and these people in these houses that are not being used, and the whole Airbnb stuff, that kind of stuff, right? That's probably a different topic altogether. Well, I mean, it's not a different topic; it's a different beast within that topic. But I mean, I know that's been something that mayors have battled in the past, and I know you're thinking of that too as well, because I feel like it's hard to combat, and you're trying to track down where the line should be drawn, I guess, in that.
It's pretty easy for us where the line should be drawn. We have a huge number of beds in this town that are tourist accommodation zone beds, 8,000 of them. So I was sitting with a senior executive at Airbnb a while ago and having the conversation about how many beds in a town of 12,000 people is enough for single, like short-term rental.
Yeah. You can
I'm pretty sure 8,000 is enough in a town of 12,000 people. It seems
for residents to live.
For short-term rentals, like for Airbnb to rent.
Yeah, but this town balloons to like 40,000 on the weekends, whatever. Like it balloons to huge amounts of people, like on busy weekends or busy weeks. Right?
It does, but certainly our residential bed base should be used as accommodation for the residents. I mean, that's
residents,
by definition what it is. So I'm responding to your comment about it's hard to know where to draw the line. No, I don't think it is for us.
Cool.
The line is drawn at, if you have tourist accommodation zoning, you should use your units for tourist accommodation. If you don't have tourist accommodation zoning, you shouldn't.
Okay.
And that's what we've done. We've decided you have to get a business license.
Okay.
And the only way you can get a business license if
your house is zoned properly.
Yep, zoned properly. And so we're going down the path of making sure that people are using properties in ways that'll serve this community in the long run.
I guess that's an issue too, because we talk about the occupancy, and like I just mentioned how like it balloons up on weekends, it balloons up when we have these long weekends and busy times. Like hotel rates are high when it gets busier, so Airbnb is traditionally cheaper. So those people then migrate from the hotels or leaves hotel rooms empty. Probably not, because there's still people in them, but it gives those hotels freedom to house more people and raise the rents because they know there's cheaper Airbnb availability. So I guess it's kind of like a fight. It's like a fighting.
But we're as busy as we've been in a long time, and still, the Airbnb bed base, which is all of those phase 1 properties that are throughout the village and like near Marketplace and throughout town, basically, are well used. I think we're in a place now where we're busy, and so our hotels are full, and those sort of condo tourist beds are also full. And so I think we're getting good value for those units right now, and we can be more deliberate about ensuring that people use their residential accommodation for residential purposes.
And since I've been here, I've seen like rents and occupancy go up and down. Over the years, it kind of ebbs and flows.
Totally.
We haven't seen that in a little while. We've seen that in maybe like, I don't know when the last time that was. It's been going up like mad for the last little while. My curiosity is do we see? I don't even know, like, with Vail only selling so many seasons passes and kind of changing the way that they operate, and maybe ditching the family pass or leaving it grandfather and things that people operate. Is there any talk about? I mean, who knows how it's going to go? But like that ebb and flow, where 2 years from now we have a huge drop in. Or a huge rise in vacancy. Like how do you combat that? We keep building. You have to keep that in mind, right?
Yeah.
Because if you build, and all of a sudden you build too fast, got a bunch of empty lots. I guess, is there like a trend or how many years it goes up and down? Do you know? Like, is there like every 3 years we see a drop, or is it kind of?
I think it was something like 8 was the average.
So that's why I haven't seen it in a while.
Way overdue.
Right.
And that's I think what forward-looking, evidence-based governments do is they keep in their heads the idea that it doesn't always go like this, and we need to be attuned to what will we do as a community in a downturn, and how do we make sure that we're not overextended in the building program that we're implementing. And something we need to be careful about, what we're proposing to do is a huge investment as a community in additional housing. So we have to be attentive to the potential for a downturn.
Can we get additional parking when we get the additional parking? Yeah, parking ticketing, additional ticketing. Can we get additional parking?
I think that's something that's being discussed.
Sweet.
Like, can you personally get an additional parking spot?
Well, yeah, sure, I'd love one for sure. Yeah, but I get there's limitations, so I'm not looking for an inside scoop here. But I appreciate your candor. Candidness, the same thing as candidness. Candid, yeah. Anyway, on that, because I think there's lots of issues people want to hear about. But I want to okay, we can put that. I want to ask about things you're optimistic about, because I know you sound optimistic about those things, and they can be solved for sure.
Yeah, but just tons of work. Yeah.
Right, with effort and elbow grease. But I'm curious now, like things that you think you're working on, and not that they have to be solved, but not that you can just let ride because it's positive. But what are the things that are there 2 things that you can say you're just like fucking jazzed on that's happening, even if it's a secret, don't tell me. If you can't tell me yet, I get it. But if there's things that you're like, even just happening now, even if it's like whatever you think, I don't know, it can be as random as you want it to be. Or if you have an agenda, you want to pump it out, that's cool.
No, I don't have. That's why I was excited about coming on, because I want to be available to our community, and it's the whole oil and gas letter thing meant that for the first 3 months, it's all that was talked about.
Happened right, yeah. Sorry, now, yeah. You jumped in there, man.
Yeah. So it's like
jumped in there.
Day one.
Right.
So I feel like the opportunity to actually have conversations with our community about those things that we care about is so critical for the kind of mayor that I have thought about being.
Right.
That when I saw you in the parking lot, it was like, yeah, this is it. I want to chat about it. But
cool.
I think I'm really I'm enthusiastic that we as a community can respond well to climate change. Cool. And and that there's energy and desire within our community to actually do that work. Right. So I think that's one thing I'm enthusiastic about. The problem is so enormous that it like, I think sort of what's it called when it fails in comparison? Pales in comparison.
I didn't read wrong. I was like, I think it's pales. I don't want to say it in case it's wrong. I don't want to sound dumb.
Like housing and transportation.
And immediately, like the immediate idea of it does. Like
totally.
The immediate, the fact that housing and transportation is happening right now in front of us.
Yeah.
It seems like, anyway.
But I feel like we have a town that wants to do something.
Yeah, we all want to fucking ski.
Yeah, exactly.
We love mountain bike. We don't do it all year.
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
do it Squamish.
Squamish.
Just fucking go down Squamish.
Like 2 years ago, I thought, man, people are keeping their bikes on their cars.
My bike rack's on my car. It's rusty as shit because it's salt, but I'll use it probably in a couple of weeks and go to Squamish again.
Squamish. Yeah. Squamish. So that, and then just this community, the people here, the kids these days.
Sure.
I'm just been. My kids now, my oldest is 16, my next is 14, and their friends are interesting people who are dreaming big dreams about what they'll do with their lives. And that's been, it feels funny to say that I feel like I'm getting to be that old man that talks about the way things
I'm going to check the camera to make sure it's working, but sorry.
No, go. So the kids these days.
Yeah, these days. They're dreaming big, man. They're dreaming big. Good.
I like it. And that's about it.
Yeah, so I think that's cool because I think in this town you have kids growing up and they're all being exposed to, the big issues in this town because there's a small town, so everybody talks about things and the issues become larger than. They become pretty polarizing in this town. I think these small issues. So then the kids get used to it, so they get to see what's happening, and they're either, they might, I think if they grow up in this town, they might not be in on skiing because they see it too much, and some kids kind of rebel, but I feel like they're being exposed to these issues that become near and dear to them because they're watching it in front of their face happen. And if you're in a city, you're in the stone walls. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you don't really always see the effects. And not having snow is easier for getting around in the city than it is. Like in Vancouver, when it snows, everyone's like, fuck, it's snowing again. But when it's here, we're like, yeah, it's snowing again. When it doesn't snow, we're like, what are we doing here? It's not snowing. So we need to fix this.
And my kid, and they've seen Horseman Glacier recede, and they've seen like Tantalus Range have ice
melt. You can see the rock.
We're like actually seeing it in real time, and it's my kids talk about it. Yeah,
right.
It's interesting.
It is interesting. I think the whole transportation and housing and like being green and all these things that we're talking about, and I mean, they all kind of do mold into this whole environmental climate change.
Well, I got distracted when we were talking about it earlier, but the point of that decision to house workforce locally was at its core an environmental decision.
Oh, right.
Because commuting from away means that you sit on a road for an hour and a half every day,
Right.
bringing yourself to work and then bringing yourself away from work. And probably also that's where your social connections are. And so you spend more time in your car going back and forth. And the thought was, if we can house ourselves in the same town where we work, then we can stay put and we can use transit more seriously. I mean, you talk about, I should get on transit more. You wouldn't even be thinking that way if you lived in Squamish and worked in Whistler. Whereas in Whistler, you can, say, I should get on transit a little bit more.
Yeah, you know what? You're right there. The actual thought of it turns into action at some point, or at least if I think about it, I don't do it, but somebody else hears me thinking about it, they might do it. And that's a bit of hopefully a domino effect.
But to your point that it's all connected. Like it's all connected.
Right, yeah. Was that two things? I asked you what you're optimistic about. Yeah,
and,
the kids.
And that our town is interested in doing something about
that. Do you think our kids in this town, there's skiing, there's snowboarding.
That's kind of cliche, hey? I'm hopeful about the kids.
I'm hopeful about the kids. I don't even have kids. I'm hopeful about everyone's kids for sure.
All right, good.
I don't want a bunch of idiots saving my life when I'm
just sure like
80.
Prime Minister
the kids in this country
would say the same thing. Like,
do you think that this is a question that's not on my list of casual questions, but as like education goes in this town, I think we have a pretty bunch of schools. I think we have pretty education. Do you think that it's keeping up with the population? Do you think it's serving the kids well in this town? Like, I mean, you have kids here. Do you think that they're...
My kids love school. My second daughter is really into snowboarding, and she competes at a fairly high level.
Yeah, cool.
And so she actually does a program where she goes to school 3 days a week during the winter, and it's been neat to see her mind focused more because she's motivated. I'm going to do well in school so that I can actually participate in what I love so much. And I think that sort of connection to the mountains has been good.
Cool.
And the schools. I've been impressed with the schools. I've been impressed with the education my kids.
Do you think there's people do you think that the kids who want to be a computer nerd and a computer science guy has a support in our school system to become that person?
I think you'd have to go away.
Yeah.
The friends of ours down here, their son is in this program in San Francisco called 42 or 24 or something. It's a free school that's run by Google,
tech company,
maybe somebody.
Probably.
So you can show up, be like, I'm going to become a software engineer, and they have a campus and everything's free. Like it's free for your 4-year degree. Wow. And then I guess you have to work for them for a couple years. Yeah, right.
Because if you don't, you're going to pay the bill back at the end. I guess you won't be able to use Google. You're like, sorry,
shut out.
Request denied. But I want to know what that means. I want to know what.
You need to use Alta Vista.
Yeah, right.
From now on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you need to ask Jeeves.
Alta Vista. What are some other search engines?
Oh man, I don't know.
Yahoo. You could use
Yahoo. Yeah, Bing.
Bing.
Who the fuck
That's
uses
more
Bing?
recent. No one uses Bing anymore.
Give me a break,
Yeah,
Bing.
Bing.
Get out of here.
Yeah, go away.
Yeah, that's cool. Because I wasn't an academic. I was just considered a class clown goofing around.
Yeah, me too.
I think it served me well so far. Personality goes a long way.
Podcast.
Yeah, right. I get the mayor on my podcast.
Yeah, totally.
I think personality goes a long way. But I was always curious because we do have these great programs where kids are able to, go skiing or go snowboarding and do and pursue their passions and do well in school too, or have the chance to be in school. But I'm always curious if, we're focusing too much on that and letting these other guys who want, or girls or whatever it is, there's people, I use the word term guys loosely, but want to be involved in academics more than they than say athletic sports. And if they had the chance to, that's great.
Yeah, we are what we are.
Yeah,
Whistler is
sure.
what it is.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of the kids that friends of mine have older kids have gone to school elsewhere, have moved.
I mean, if you go to university, you still go to university other place. Like even in a small town, you go to university in Guelph, or you go to university UBC or whatever it is. So just because you live here doesn't mean you don't go to university somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But
and a lot of I would say the majority of kids, I don't know, a lot of kids from this town go to university somewhere else.
Right. Yeah.
The interesting thing is, can that same kid who goes away to school actually decide that they want to live their life in this town? What kind of work can they do? How do they call this place home? And it's one of the things that I'd really like to be able to say I helped with, which was, making it a realistic choice for the kids in this town to make Whistler home in the long run.
Yeah, because it's a very interesting thing about as far as work goes. I mean, I've been here for a long time, and I've had a few jobs. There's a lot of news, like going on the news about the gig economy right now, and like people who have like contract work and like all these contracts around town and trying to find work in this town. And I realize people are trying to find workers in this town. That's a big thing for us. But at a level, once you get past a certain level where you want to have a career, what are those options in this town for that, right? And if I look at Whistler Blackcomb, and you see when the Vale bought Whistler Blackcomb, and you get how many people just laid off and they have to find other work or they do other things or move out of town. Do you see, like, this may second, but do you think Vale's, they're a big company, is their interest in keeping people employed in Whistler? I mean, I don't know. Do they care?
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, not the question you answer, but I feel like the people thinking of what
I think they want to actually have a happy, healthy workforce.
Of course.
And they need people employed here to actually keep
run their business.
The operation side moving.
Going.
And I think that one of the interesting things, like everything, there's benefits and drawbacks.
Right.
And I think there's some benefits to them having purchased Whistler Blackcomb, and there's some drawbacks. And one of the big benefits is that there's room to move in the organization now. Like, you can actually go and run a ski resort before, where when it was just Whistler Blackcomb, you'd
have to apply
waiting forever because the management.
Bob Dufour's not going anywhere, man.
He's still not.
He's still driving a ski with, I'm sure.
It's true.
Yeah.
And then there's drawbacks, and the one you point out may well be one.
Right.
In that maybe some jobs aren't in town anymore, and that's tough.
It's tough because you want to stay here and do your thing, but I mean, I guess it's like when I lived in Barrie, I couldn't find a job, so I had to leave. Mm-hmm. Barrie's it's a great place, but not as desirable as here, so wanting to stay there was different. But I get the idea of like.
What's your problem with Barrie?
Nothing anymore.
Oh, really? Not there anymore.
Nothing anymore. Yeah. No, I didn't have a problem. I just couldn't find a job, man. I graduated college, and I just kind of I didn't know what I wanted. So I think I just was like, and there wasn't a lot of factories in Barrie, a lot of like things. I'd have to go to Toronto to get like an agency job in marketing, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't spend much time in Toronto. I don't even know how to get around there because I was too young before I moved away.
What's Barrie like? Is it on a lake?
It's on a lake. It's on Lake Simcoe. It's actually a fucking cool lake. It's a great lake and stuff. But it's kind of getting hit now. It's like 140,000 people, but it's like factories, and it's pretty big in like small business and entrepreneur stuff. But a lot of commuters go from Barrie to Toronto now. So everyone lives in the south end of Barrie and drives to Toronto. And the Highway 400 has just been closed for like 2 days because some crazy storms. Like, it's huge, massive pileups. But it's just like
a drive.
It's about an hour from Barrie to Toronto, and people commute up. Now it's like an 8-lane highway. It's just like people are professional drivers. So when you were a kid,
how many people?
Oh, I think when I lived out in the sticks for a while. I lived like farmland. I moved into Barrie when I was like 18, but I would go to school in Barrie. I'd take a bus into school. Yeah. There's maybe like 100,000, maybe 80,000 people when I was a kid.
Yeah, see, Kelowna was like, I don't know, 30 to
10.
50.
Yeah, okay.
And now it's like 170, and
right.
It's crazy.
Kelowna, California. Did you have white sunglasses when you lived there?
Yeah.
You did?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Bermuda shorts and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. And the flip-flops that were like the thick
flip-flops,
thick Adidas, like the band, not the flip-flop part, but like the full like slip-on Adidas ones.
No, that's new school. Back then we had the there was the Varney flip-flops that were like way too
Varney,
big for your foot. They were like they had the big V on them.
I had the nerdy Tevas where like you strap your ankle into
with socks
so you could run.
Yeah.
You get that so you wouldn't get beat up by a bully.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What was it like growing up in Kelowna?
I liked it, but when I was done, I left. This place is.
Sure. Yeah.
Do
you think if you weren't exposed to this place when you were a kid and you didn't have a family here, you think you'd be here? Maybe probably.
Maybe
not, right?
I spent a lot of time in Squamish. climbing and stuff.
Oh, okay,
so
cool.
I probably would have spent some time up here, but I probably would have been in Vancouver.
Right.
Which
You would have left Kelowna.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Right.
Kelowna's too hot at night. I never could get.
Fuck.
I couldn't handle.
That's what
being
Ontario's
hot at night.
bad for, man. The humidity. There's no
At
humidity
night.
in Kelowna, though, is there? It's not humid.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah,
I
good.
should
don't,
figure that out.
Don't find out. Well, yeah, but if you go to like,
I just love
Bali.
that it's cool here at night.
Yeah.
That I can go down to the. I can be hot, like crazy hot all day, and then I can go down to the water and stand on the dock at night, and it's cool. And beautiful
I love that.
in the mountains.
Yeah, I think when I went to Ontario, I just had bad allergies. I'm a bubble boy. I'll get if a dog licks my leg, I get a rash.
So now here's
still animals, but yeah, I don't get the same seasonal allergies. Like pollen's different and everything's different. It's changed. I grew out. I think I used to have asthma as a kid, and I still have it a bit now, but it's not even close to as bad.
So, what do you think Whistler should be and do?
Oh shit, man! I'm the host. You don't ask me shit.
I want to know that.
No, I get frustrated with a lot of stuff. I think the traffic is an issue for sure.
Yeah.
Because living in the South End, trying to get to town, even on a bus, I've seen buses just sit there and park.
Oh yeah.
Like I've seen if I was on a bus, I wouldn't be able to get to work on time some days.
Unless
the bus ran all the
whipped
fucking time
past you and you're sitting in your car.
And the bus stop has changed now, so you can see the bus down there from my house as red lights.
Yeah.
It used to park here, and
Well,
now
I
it
know,
waits
you
there, and
guys-
no one said anything. It wasn't really that communicated very well. So I was waiting here for the bus one day, and I was like, "Why is that bus down there?" And then it just took off and then left me here, and I was like, "What?"
See, you are a bus rider.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
Nice.
I think the traffic is a huge issue. I think that light at Tamarisk there, someone should knock that out of the way because it just makes it. I mean, I get people have to cross the road and stuff, but as soon as I saw that go in, it changed the way traffic. Literally changed the way traffic operates in this town. But I think traffic is a huge issue. So obviously transportation is big.
Yeah.
Parking's an issue for me for sure. I'm scared that when
parking how
in the village, going to the village. So if I were to not take public transit, and I'd go to park, I'm a lot 8 guy, lot 7 guy.
Yeah, me too.
In Whistler, as we saw.
Yeah.
If there's development up there, right, which I'm sure will come along at some point, then those are all gone.
I think that there'll be some sort of
sure, even if it's half. See how busy they are now. People park along the road and they're parking a lot, can't anything else. So even if that goes down to half, then we have issues where it's like, okay, even the people who drive here, even if I stop driving, and we take every local, even if every local stops driving to the hill.
Okay, can I tell you something that's crazy that no one believes me? So we
trust
did
you.
a whole. Okay, but you don't have to believe me. You can just. So we did a whole bunch of research on who's on the road during rush hour.
Yeah.
So during ski rush, Sunday afternoons, all that kind of stuff. And whenever I tell this, 45% of the cars on the road are local people taking their kid back from skiing or whatever.
Okay.
And our expectation is damn tourists like filling up the roads, like they're just taking
easy
all
go-to.
the spots on the road.
Yeah.
But actually, it's us. Like we're a big part of who's on
Congestion.
You're not in traffic. You are traffic.
Right. I am traffic. I experienced the frustration of being traffic.
Yeah.
And I get it for sure. Yeah.
But I guess the point being, if you were to take every local off the road, you're wrong. If you were to take 50% of the cars off the road, all of a sudden, all of our problems would be fixed.
Right.
I'm not imagining that we're going to do that anytime soon, but that's why if you did have robust transit, you could address some of the problems because you don't need 50%. If you were to get 5%, there'd be a significant difference. If you were to get 7%, there'd be a significant difference.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, I guess, I believe you for sure.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Because I mean, my roommate and I drive almost every day. So I get there's 2 of us that are driving different cars to town, you know.
Yeah.
He goes to pick up his kid and I go to town whenever and do some work or whatever. But so okay, well there's traffic. No matter who's in the traffic, we got to and I get there's solutions that people aren't going to like, but it's going to help fix things for sure. Parking, whether it's residential parking or whether it's in the village parking, I get that. You know, I think.
Have you ever bought a parking pass?
Yeah. When I worked at Lululemon, I bought a parking pass in the parking lot.
I love it. We
legit, man. It was like $30 a month or whatever,
exactly.
$50 a month. Oh, you're in the Holiday Inn.
Yeah, it's
baller.
the best
What do you mean?
Parking, and it's like $50 a month.
That's it.
Yeah, Holiday. It's not the Holiday Inn. Is it the Holiday Inn?
Either way, it's under the hotel, right?
And it's the best.
Is it Pan Pacific that's there now? Is that the Pan Pacific? Where is it? Like
under
the bridge?
Under the bridge. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Under the bridge downtown.
Right. Downtown.
That's where
downtown Whistler. Is that there's a downtown?
I was just singing Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Under the bridge. Yeah, right. Okay, cool.
I just thought you'd join in. We'd sing the song, and then be like,
we can do that as like a hidden track.
Okay, like an Easter egg.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So I think that for me, traffic and parking. I think parking is an issue, but I also think housing too, because I have friends who are trying to find places to live and trying to live places and stuff, and I guess that's a huge issue. And I always see people are kind of concerned about it and paying a lot of money, and like $1,000 to live, to have a bed in one house or in one room, share a room. And I know that some of those stories are maybe not everywhere, but I think that the crunch makes housing not affordable. So the idea of working on housing is great. I think everyone wants it to happen tomorrow. Yeah. So it's hard, and I would love it if it happened tomorrow, but I know it's hard.
I think we need for those people that have been here for 3 weeks to 2 years. I think we need more dorm housing, because if you're going to move into town and we can have something more centrally located so that you don't have to have a vehicle and you can ski to work, you can ride your bike to work, I think it'll be a big change. And so I'm excited that Vail's agreed to build another dormitory.
Cool.
Those things are, we need the full compendium of housing. We need, like, I just moved in 3 weeks ago and I need to find a home that's sane and I'm not stacked with people on top of me, all the way up to, me and my partner are having a kid and we want to call this home forever. Right. And there's sort of all manner of product that fits from
right. Everyone has a right to a nice place to live and be able to afford it. So I guess my other question is wages. And if we're not going to fix that housing anytime soon, or we can't fix it anytime soon, the wages aren't going to help anybody get a place to live. So if we free up housing gets cheaper, then wages become less of an issue, I think. But there's still an issue in general. So I think that I've always thought that if this town, that's why 80, a target of 75%, that makes some sense. And to stay on top of it and keep going after it and be aggressive right now to maybe catch up a bit is important. But I also think businesses need to step up and pay more. For sure. Because I frankly feel like when I was, one of my staff sat me down once and said, what you're paying us right now, like you realize what it costs to live in this town, and what you're paying us right now means that we're either going into credit card debt or we're calling our parents in Australia to send money. And when I actually had that conversation about 8 years ago, that was compelling to me. Right. And I feel like it is, like, business owners don't want to think of themselves as an issue,
living off of their employees' sort of poverty.
I was going to say lack of return poverty. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
They want to think that they're giving people, gainful employment that can really kind of cause a life to grow out of it. And so I think the conversation about wages is an important conversation. For
because sure. Also there's wages, there's lack of staff. So they're actually being forced to pay a bit more to have the staff that are in town. Yeah. If there was an abundance of staff, people wouldn't be getting paid at all. Yeah. Well, they'd be getting paid, but they'd be like, well, we don't need to pay you because there's somebody at the door knocking. Right now they're like, we're knocking on our door to get you to come in to pay you. And I think they're trying to reluctantly giving these bit of a benefits, but then passing it on to, the consumer who needs to buy their wares or whatever it is, because the person who owns this place is paying giant rents in their place and probably has pretty high leverage in their home because they moved here thinking they could just make money and come into town. So I think
it makes it more unaffordable for the employee. It's interesting. You need to pay more in wage, so you increase the cost of a burger, which you pass on to the customer who is often a visitor from out of town who can afford it, but it also is the person who works next door in a clothing store who has just lost the affordability of their dinner. Yeah. It's a complicated puzzle.
It's a tough one, man. Like, I remember when I worked for Western Block and we'd fight for good wages and stuff all the time. My boss was great. She really stuck her neck out for us, stuff in the PR department there. And but I think it was different back then. I mean, it was like 8 years ago. But I think that is an issue, and I think it isn't just one solving. When you solve one issue, it kind of dominoes into the next. So you pay your staff $20 an hour. Yeah, that burger's now. I mean, burgers are $15 pretty much in general around here, but I mean, now it's $19, right? And then that $20, you have to work an hour to have a meal, right? And I get it. I mean, we live in a town. Everyone's like, you got to have the luxury tax of living here, but there is some onus on the employers for sure to do that. But I think they're like, if we do that, it trickles down to them having to pay their bills too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think people just need to. Would you rather have a little drop in profits, or like by 10%, or be stubborn and then maybe have to close twice a week because you can't get staff to do it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen when that happened with Samurai and Creekside and places, they just had to close like midweek and they couldn't do it. But I think wages difference is for the small businesses. I think wages are something that people can think about. But I think when like someone like Vail or these big companies who are I guess Vail's the biggest one, but they probably don't. I know it's Whistler Blackcomb's HR department that probably deals locally with their staff, but decisions made by big corporations to save pennies on the dollar by doing these small incremental cuts or whatever. That's where the biggest thing is, because Whistler Blackcomb's like the biggest employer in town, right? So if they aren't on the forefront of it, why would anybody else feel the same way? Like if they're going to charge, I guess the majority don't buy a day ticket. But when you think about that compared to a wage, compared to the people that are coming to town, compared to what splits should pay their staff, it doesn't equal. The math is shit. It's really shit.
It's not just a housing problem. It's not just a transportation
There's
problem.
many
It's
things.
just not an affordability problem. That's why it's so complicated, and that's why I think
you got a tough
one
job,
of the most
man.
important. Well, but one of the most important things is get everybody around the table.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I've felt like there is a conversation to have with Vail, and I think that they're willing to have that conversation. I think.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you.
What's with that?
That looks like exciting.
Yeah, so I saw on Facebook there's this Whistler Workers Alliance meeting. It was a hunter gatherer, and it was like it was like this Whistler. It was on Facebook Whistler Whistler Winter page.
Okay.
That fucking I've lost my wallet 4 times a day page. Fuck, that's so funny.
I'm out. I can't do it anymore.
Makes me laugh.
Too much.
My roommates,
because most of it is lost wallets.
Yeah.
Or like, do you know this person?
Yeah.
With like,
anybody know this Mung Bean?
Yeah,
and you're
exactly.
like, yeah. But so
tired.
Yeah, but there was this thing I saw, and it was this. There was this Whistler Workers Alliance, and it's new, and they're trying to get local staff to form together.
Unionize?
Yeah. You haven't seen this?
No.
Jack, what are you doing? You're the mayor, man.
I'm just not on Facebook enough. I
good.
guess. I will get back on Facebook.
Get back on Facebook. But yeah, get back on that joyous occasion that is when you watch the Whistler Winter page. Fuck, it's so funny. People are idiots. But people are truly trying to fix things. And I think they're trying every angle because they're not getting through to people. Like the locals are, and locals, I don't mean, I'm not just saying locals, I mean anybody who's working here seasonally or not, trying to get through to the local, to the businesses, to the bigger businesses like Whistler Blackham, that things need to change. I don't have the answers. These people have the answers, but they need more. They start off with, we need more money, right? And so it does involve a lot more things, just giving somebody more money. But there is this Whistler Workers Alliance thing that's popped up that I saw. I don't know a lot about it. I didn't read about it because I don't need to.
Trust Facebook.
Yeah. Well, but it's real. And so I saw they were gathering at Hunter Gatherer as was their first meeting.
That's appropriate. That they're gathering at Hunter
at a place that charges a lot of money for food.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I was saying they're gathering at Hunter Gatherer.
Yeah. They should be gathering at
all I was saying.
They should be gathering like McDonald's or something like that, where at least you can get a burger.
No, I'm saying gather.
Yeah,
the words gather.
Right. No, I get that.
It was not a good joke.
No, it's a serious business, Jack.
Yeah, I apologize.
Just joking.
I apologize.
No.
I don't. Yeah, no. I think that like I say, it's a multifaceted challenge, and I think that the one thing that, from my perspective, actually will make a difference is working through the businesses in our community and advocating for them to actually step up and raise wages. It worked for me. Like it's talking to your boss. It's talking to the company that you're working with. Like you did.
Right.
Talk to your supervisor and discuss what it means to actually pay a livable wage. Yeah. I think that's a good discussion to have. What does it
fair,
mean?
Man?
What does a living wage actually mean?
Yeah.
Dan Wilson at the Whistler Center for Sustainability has actually put together what the basket of goods that you need to be able to purchase with what then is the living wage. So I need to be able to have some recreation. I need to be able to have my housing, my transportation,
buy a bus pass, buy a park pass,
all those kind of things.
Yep.
And then what does it require me to make in order to have that basket of goods? And that's something that we looked at my company was, okay, so what does it actually take for someone to be able to...
Like, what is that annual wage for that? $50,000 a year, 40, 50, 40, 30? I don't know. Like...
I don't know what the number is. It's actually not as.
It's also fiscal responsibility
because none of them have savings in them. So it's something like $18 an hour or something like that, and a 40-hour work week.
Yeah, which is
I
tough.
think a lot of us are.
Fuck that. Yeah,
especially in summers, people don't want to.
I know, but it's also that fiscal responsibility, and I'm not putting it on the person who doesn't make enough money to do that. But if you make enough money and you're complaining you don't make enough money because you we're at Garf's to whatever. That's you gotta have.
Everybody always blames Garf's. Like no one
Garf's
ever
has
says
caused me serious trouble in the years that I've been here. I've walked through those doors with good intentions and left.
Okay, but no one ever says that you went to Bill's. Like they always blame.
No
Everybody blames Garf's.
Yeah, okay. Sorry Garf's. You guys are fucking awesome. I actually had a good time there. I saw the Beat Nuts there a long time ago. It was awesome, but they're all too short to see above the crowd.
Really?
Yeah, they're all like I don't know, like they're old dudes. You couldn't see them. Huh. Their stage isn't big enough. They're all like you can just see like bob and head. It's super funny.
Well, now you just took another shot at Garf's. Their stage isn't big enough.
Yeah, I know, but I went there. I liked it. It was awesome. They had the Beat Nuts. The Beat Nuts are legitimate, like old school.
Okay.
They played those guys.
All right.
Sorry, Garf's.
I don't mean to.
I didn't go to. Well, Tommy's has been closed for a while. I couldn't use them.
I know. I just. Whatever.
Yeah.
Garf's
gets shit on a bunch. Garf's takes a ton of heat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because Garf people should anyway. The idea of that, and along with a small bit of fiscal responsibility, could help a lot of people too. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just being able to like manage your money and don't lose your phone every fucking 2 days.
Yeah, and because then I would maybe start paying attention to Facebook more. If people
stop losing their phones,
credit cards, stuff
right.
like that.
The cool thing I like about that Facebook page, people do get help. It's like, hey, I lost this last night. They found her. It's like I'm looking for a ride somewhere. Everything else is cool.
I'm not. I don't have any problem with social media. I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
it's workable.
I see you. I just started following you on Instagram.
Oh, I'm useless on that. Don't worry, it'll get better.
Cool. I'm not saying you need to. I'm just saying I started following you.
It needs to.
And I don't use Twitter much either. I use it for news. I don't really use it much. But I feel like I look for things like what you would post on Twitter. Like that's what I use Twitter for. Is like
what's going on
in the world. Yeah. Our little bubble of wisdom.
That's what I want. I was doing when I was doing it lots. I was doing it because I was
straight out of Crompton, right?
Well,
it was or something you just did.
Straight out of Crompton was the remember what was that website called that Michelle LaRue put together? It was wicked.
Vancouver is awesome.
Whistler is awesome.
Whistler's awesome, right?
And
yeah.
I was writing an article every week.
Yeah, right.
Straight out of Crompton, which is I don't know who gave that to me, whether it was you or Brad. Was it you? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't want to say it out loud, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even know you. I just thought your name sounded cool. I was like, I started Crompton.
So that was actually going to be the name of those episodes where I was interviewing Whistlerites. Was going to be Whistler. It was Straight Out Crompton. Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know where we're going here, but yeah, whatever. We've been doing this like an hour and a bit now.
Yeah. Good.
It's cool. I appreciate all this chat we're having. It's really great. It's candid. But this is a casual show. Yeah, I just want to ask, like, so you're going away, maybe some personal stuff. You're leaving. When are you leaving to go to Calgary, or where did you say you're going? Red Deer, Alberta.
Yeah, I'm going to cheer on Team BC.
Cool.
My daughter Maggie and her friend Juliet are on Team BC for snowboard slopestyle.
Nice, man. That's cool.
Yeah. Arena snow parks are all out there.
Oh, Lucas Ouellette and Steven. Yeah, cool. Nice, man. Those guys are
so
rad.
they built out this crazy course in the middle of Red
Deer,
which
that's
is kind of fun.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Is that new? They haven't done it before in Red Deer. Is this a new thing in Red Deer right now?
No, it's Canada Winter Games. So Canada Winter Games is every 4 years.
Is it in Red Deer all the time?
Yeah, no. It's next year. 4 years from now, it's in PEI.
Right.
And so
PEI, fuck.
I know I don't know where they're going to
drive in there.
I'm not going.
Right. You're gonna wait for an ice storm and just build it on snowbanks.
No, I hope my kid's old enough to not be going to Canada Winter Games.
Right.
In 4 years.
Right.
Anyway, so we're gonna go and cheer on TBC slopestyle.
That must be cool. I don't have kids, but it must be cool to see what you live in a town where your kid gets to like enjoy what the town offers and like the fruits of its labor, we're gonna say, and you get to watch them excel in it. It must be super cool.
Yeah, it's been
freaking
really
out.
Fun.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were we go every year down to Mount Baker for the
Baker Banks
Slalom, and everyone camps out in RVs, and it's.
I heard it's a great time there. My roommate's been a few times. He says,
"You need to go."
Like, I'm a skier, but I want to check it out.
No, I'm a skier too.
Okay. Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
So I go.
Yeah, it's cool.
And they let you ski. The people that run it are all skiers. Like the owners of Baker are skiers.
I want to go check it out. It'd be cool. I think it's cool though, just like I said, having your kid be able to like enjoy like excel in what this town's about and be like, and you can just go watch them snowboard and do what they love to do. And it's something you love to do with ski or snowboard, just be on snow. I think it's cool that you get to watch that and then have them excel in a place like Red Deer.
Yeah, it'll be and our whole, my wife Carolyn, her whole family's in Alberta, so they're all gonna come to Red Deer.
So there must be other Whistlerite going. You guys care? Are you like kind of
Finn Feinstone's there? Yeah. Jaden Chomlack's there, and Truth Smith is. I
just saw Feinstone said his kid got accepted into something in like Sweden or some other place. I don't know. He got invited to some contest somewhere.
Well, I think that's the.
It's bigger. It's bigger than I don't know what it is.
It's where you like all of the board show up and they like teach you how to talk to the media.
Oh, really?
They teach you how to look good with your. I don't know.
Cool, nice. Yeah. Speaking of looking good, you're a tenant there in that white outfit, the Rocket Man, Jesse Millen.
Millen.
Yeah. You got any shady stories on that guy?
I don't know. He's a good dude. Oh, he is the best tenant he's been there for a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's been through all kinds of different living arrangements.
Yeah.
And throughout it all, he is a hard rock. Like he's there. He
that's
just
cool.
does not give up. He takes care of us.
That's cool. Yeah, man, I like that guy.
We like him through, various different dogs.
His dog's going through trouble right now, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I just saw it on Instagram. Driggs is having trouble.
Oh no.
Yeah, kind of sad. I don't know what. I just saw it on Instagram. So shout out to Jesse. Hope your dog's doing well, buddy.
Yeah. He's good, man. I like him.
He's cool for sure.
Yeah.
I
wish I had That would be
I'd call him out right now.
I would love
if you
to tell a story.
Burn him. Yeah.
I wish. I don't have any good stories.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Although I thought like driving around the Kicking Horse van.
I worked with him for a bit. He hired
me.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to help him.
I always thought that was a bit of a like a mission. Like he was driving all over Western Canada.
And did you see the size of those Orion or those big coolers they had?
Oh yeah. No,
it was like 20 of them and they're full of ice and that guy's Jesse's in good shape and I was like I'm okay, but whatever. Dude, those things were like there was like 4 dead bodies in those things. It felt like they're so heavy, man. It was brutal.
But it was a big truck.
Yeah.
And then it was, one of those Sprinter vans.
Yeah.
All with the Kicking Horse.
It was like the guy who owns Kicking Horse, I guess it had just gotten bought by Lavazza or Laza.
Oh, the big
yeah. And that was.
Do you know, I was in Nepal and we were like hiking up to Everest Base Camp.
Yeah.
For my dad's, 65th birthday, me and my 3 brothers and my dad, and there's a Lavazza coffee shop, like maybe one town from
really
Everest Base Camp. People live so high in this world, like on the tops of mountains, and run coffee shops. And you could like buy pop or a hamburger.
Isn't the coffee from like down the hill from them though? Like I don't they grow coffee at elevation.
It didn't look like it's just snow, man. It's
right. Growing coffee there, right? Yeah, fair. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, well, like they're a huge company, I guess, and they bought Kicking Horse. So then, but that van Jesse was in, Kicking Horse just rented it from a buddy that worked. Like the guy who owned Kicking Horse, the lady who owned it, I guess, just had a friend who had a Sprinter van and it went away somewhere, so they just rented it from him and put a wrap on it.
Mm-hmm.
It had like bike racks inside that were taken out.
And the matte black.
Yeah, it's pretty cool looking for sure. Yeah,
I mean,
but he drove that thing. He'd be just driving. He's kind of a bully with it.
Oh, because it's so big.
Yeah, he'd just be like, I'm driving. He's like, we would get to the place, like, I'm just parking right here. He'd get like frustrated because we had to carry 500 pounds of coffee in and out of this place. We couldn't park close half the time. But one day we went to, we were at the Kids Fest. They let Kicking Horse activate in Kids Fest. So we're in Whistler.
Here.
Yeah, so we're in Whistler. I'm like, parents don't even want parents probably want the coffee, but kids, I'm like, why are we got flags up and we're like, we're at Kids Fest. Like,
maybe like parents are just like overwhelmed.
Give me that shit. Yeah, we were pumping it out. We were handing out cans for sure. Yeah,
good job.
Yeah, but yeah, he hired me for it. It was good. It was fun.
That's the one. The one thing about Millen, he's never home.
No, he's always out. That guy has so much energy.
And and he's always like working out or doing whatever. Like he's
on fire.
He's taking care of himself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he's a firefighter.
Is he summer firefighter. Him and Jake.
I don't know
Bauer.
I don't know who Jake Bauer is, but
you know Jake Bauer.
I don't think so. Maybe by face.
Jake and Josh, like twin brothers. They're like,
come on, shaved head guys.
No, different guys.
I don't know. Sorry, Jake and
they're like
your brother.
Buddies with Ben and buddies with Melon. They're
I just never see them. I don't know.
They're like they're surrounding you. They're friends with all your friends.
Probably. Dude, my mind is mashed. I don't know from smashing in the dirt a few years ago.
Okay.
But
at Galbraith.
Yeah.
I saw you. Do you remember this? I saw you like the day after.
Really?
Or the day before. You're taking the bike down to.
I was going to pick it up.
You went and rode it.
Yeah.
To get some.
Yeah.
Dirt.
Shh, man.
Sorry about that.
I went and wrote it, and I went to visit some friends and write it, and I was coming home.
Yeah, coming home.
You saw me. Well, if you saw me after, I would have been mangled.
You were.
Was that a neck brace? I would have been a neck brace when you saw me. I didn't get a neck brace till 3 days after the accident because I got.
You were in.
Was I with like Leishman and my friend Kim going to the hospital or something? And whatever. It's like 5 years ago.
It was a long time.
But I was beat up when you saw me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know I had a broken neck till like I had gone to Vancouver 2 days later after I came back from Vancouver.
Maybe I saw you between the neck brace.
Probably because I had 2 days between the neck brace before anybody knew I had a broken neck. Yeah.
Did you halo it?
No, I had that thing right there. That thing, see that in the shrine, that green thing? So, yeah, it was just it was like, I didn't have a halo, no.
That's a shrine?
Well, I don't know. That's all I got, man.
It's all right. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, no, it's not a shrine. It's more of like a don't go near that thing again.
Okay, yeah.
But no, I had that on for 4 months. I had an occipital condyle fracture. So it's at the base of your skull. I think you chip the base of your skull or whatever. But super volatile. You can turn your head and just like hit the ground. I didn't know. And I had this big lump on the back of my neck. And they didn't catch it in Bellingham. And then they stitched me up and my nose is all mangled and I had like a La Forte fracture, they call it. So like my all up here was broken off, just floating around in my face. My jaw was dislocated. All these teeth are fake. And then my nose was broken and I had, my whole cheeks were, it's like super sharp up here, but I got metal plates in my face because my face fell apart. My helmet was ripped in half. And
was it a gnarly
I don't even know.
You don't know what you're doing?
Oh, the feature is now different because it was like, say this was a ramp, the counter, and then there was like maybe a 4 foot gap and then the landing. I think I just didn't make the landing. I hit the back of the gap, I think.
With your
face.
Front tire?
Well, yeah, my front tire and my face. But then, they didn't know I had a broken neck till I got to Vancouver. And I went there like 2 days later because they were like transferring me around and stuff. And all of a sudden they came running in the room and sandbagged me and tied me down so you have a broken neck, so don't move for a while. Then I went
so they did the... That thing
Belling?
just flashed. Are we done?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see.
So they...
Oh, it's time for me to go to bed.
Okay, that's good. Good night,
Yeah,
Proctor.
you got 8 hours of sleep, man.
Good night, Proctor.
Yeah. So they did all the X-rays in Vancouver in Bellingham didn't catch it.
So you're in there. I'm not feeling well. They take an X-ray, and then all of a sudden,
in Vancouver,
people like cruise in there and be like, lay down.
Yeah, they did because it's really hard to catch the X-ray. They have to X-ray through your mouth, and I guess they didn't do that. Because I was walking, moving around. They didn't think about a broken neck when I was in Bellingham, and I was still kind of conscious, but I just didn't have any memory of it's only like 5 hours missing of my day. But then I went to the hospital in Bellingham. They stitched up my lip here, gave me some bandages, X-rayed me, said, yeah, you got a concussion, your face is mashed. We can't do anything for you here. I said, where are you staying? I'm like, I'm at the O'Connell Lodge. He said, well, go back there and go to Whistler in the morning, get your friends to drive in. No one took really, there was no sense of urgency. So
but they knew everything was smashed.
They knew my face was mangled for sure. And then my friends came and got me at the border, switched off cars, drove me to Whistler, went to Whistler. They were like, yeah, you are fucked up. But they said, go to Vancouver in the morning. So even Whistler didn't do they didn't catch the broken neck until I went to Vancouver the next morning. So I came back here and slept on my couch. I couldn't eat, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't chew, I couldn't do shit. And then I got to Vancouver. I went to emergency. My buddy Jeff came down with me. And then I was in a room. They were like, yeah. And they could take my teeth and just move them around. My whole top teeth were just like, it was in one piece, but they just moved the whole, like a denture, but it wouldn't leave my face. And then they found, I had a big swollen bump back here. And I couldn't, every time I got off the bed, I had to hold my head to go and get a Kleenex or whatever to wipe. I was in a room by myself for an hour. And they came in. All of a sudden I did x-rays. They came in. They were like, you need to not move anymore. And I was like, cool, I've been getting up and walking around since 2 days ago.
So what has that made you think about the sports we do here and the way we do them? That like, does it make you ask questions?
If I think I had a memory of it, probably. If I recalled what happened.
Of all the recovery.
Yeah. And I mountain bike every day. I mean, I still not every day, but I love it. Probably more than I did. Probably because I don't have that image of the accident in my head. But yeah, I think you can get mangled, man, for sure. I mean, Mike Shaw, those guys like that, he can. He's lucky to be alive too, right? And he's got a lot more going on than I do. I've recovered pretty well. I was lucky. I don't like to use the word luck, but yeah, the sports we do, man, everybody's got their chance. It sounds dumb, but I get on a bus and get in an accident. I get in a plane, get in an accident. I can drive and get in an accident. I don't think lightning's going to strike twice in this regard to me anyway. But I'm more concerned with the healthcare system and the lack of the due diligence isn't there in some places. And my surgeon was amazing. For sure. Like I had 6 hours of surgery. They cut my head open and pulled it off and they fixed it all. And 40 staples at the top of my head to fix it all.
Do you look any different?
My nose looks like my nose is way bigger, and that actually does bother me. I have an issue with the way I look a little bit because it's about 5 millimeters off. My nose is a bit bigger than it used to be. It was big to begin with, but a little bit different. I've been more of like a droopy face. I have more of like a resting bitch face kind of, maybe, I don't know. But everyone says he looks normal. But if you see me, if you didn't know me before, you wouldn't think I was ever in an accident.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
But if I look at a picture side by side, I can tell.
You tell, and probably your
people can tell, but it doesn't bother me anymore. But for me, it took me a while to deal with it. I'm not over it, but it took me a while to just be comfortable with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's 5 millimeters off, right? You spend 35 years of your life looking at yourself one way and it goes 1 millimeter. All of a sudden, things different. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm more concerned about my brain health as I get older. Yeah. A bit more scattered, a bit more like stumbling on words and stuff. So I try to talk more and try to like take more time to read and do things like that. But I mean, I still mountain bike all the time. I think I'd rather like think about parenting and stuff like that. I'd rather have my kids out riding bikes, snowboarding, skiing, playing sports than, you know, sitting at home on a couch playing video games all the time. Yeah. And so you deal with some risk wherever you find that risk, whether it is at home sitting playing video games or out skiing and mountain biking. And I think I prefer the one to the other. I think you risk missing experiences more than danger itself. You know, I think risking I mean, people do really well playing video games. You can make millions of dollars doing it. You know, I think Monster's highest paid endorsed athlete is a video gamer. No way. Yeah, and it's gonna like they play Call of Duty at X Games now. It's huge, right? Yeah. At X Games. Yeah, there's a Call of Duty. There used to be, and I don't know if it was last year, but there's an X Games at Call of Duty. Huh. You made and they have like huge arenas where like I knew about that. Yeah. So, but I mean, you would never make that much money being a mountain biker if you were if you comparably as good. I don't think you ever make as much money being a mountain biker. Brandon Semenuk doesn't make as much as a... no way. Yeah. Well, I don't know for sure, but I would guess not. But, for sure. Right. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's experiences in both. I mean, I play video games sometimes in the morning to get my brain going before I start work. Nothing against video. My point is more... All day, every day. I feel like that's a good sort of corrective to think through. But from my perspective... I'd rather have my kids go after what they love and being in the mountains and actually experience everything that this place is than I would have them stay home because I'm afraid that they might hurt themselves. They probably, you know, and have already. My kids have hurt themselves and dealt with all kinds of tough things, and I've hurt myself. You know, like this arm's all mangled from rugby, and it hurts now. Right. But I wouldn't give up those like 12 years of like loving what I was doing. Yeah, making friends, relationships, traveling. Totally. You know, getting hurt, pain threshold, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you learn a lot, I think, when you get hurt. But yeah, I mean, everything's got its own merit of what's good and bad. Like I think even video games part-time are good for you and everything else. You can learn a bit of hand-eye coordination and stuff and like problem solving. But yeah, so does mountain biking and so does, you know, dodging trees and people on the road and everything else or whatever. So and doing podcasts. Yeah, man. I don't think if I didn't live in Whistler, I don't think I would. If I didn't do what I'm doing now, I don't think my path. I don't think I'd be doing a podcast. You know, these small little changes you make or these little decisions you make. Mm-hmm. If I didn't leave Barrie, I don't think I wouldn't do a podcast. I'm going to talk to you, but like, what did you do at the factory today, Bill? What'd you build? You know, who cares? Yeah, I went swimming at Lake Factory Simcoe, cast. Man. Yeah. I got E. coli because there's too many people in the lake. Yeah, I mean that happens here. Is it that busy in the summer? Oh yeah, it gets really busy down there. Yeah, for sure. It's like lake, it's the only really lake in Barrie, and it's like. It's a pretty packed beach. So I mean, it's no busier than going to Rainbow on a hot day. Yeah. I mean, it's just smaller. Are you here forever? Maybe. I mean, I've been here for 15 years. I haven't thought of... I think I'm moving now and again, but I'm like... Well, where would you go? I don't know. I thought about if I ever got a job somewhere, I would want to go to like London or New York. If I was going to move to a city, I wouldn't go back to Toronto. I wouldn't go to Vancouver. I'd maybe go to like a big city, you know, like San Francisco, LA. Yeah, you know, something where it's like totally different, you know. But I think I love New York. I've been there a bunch of times. I'd love to if I could afford to live. You got to make $200,000 a year to even have it, like to really enjoy. I would imagine what New York's like. I've been headhunted a couple of times. I've gone there for interviews and stuff, and to New York City. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but I didn't get the job. But I think I look qualified online, and when I get there, like, oh, this guy's just a dude. Cut your hair. Not anymore. Cut your dude. Yeah, cut your hair, you dude. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think I'm here. I mean, I still love skiing. I think my passion for skiing has waned a bit, but mountain biking has filled that gap, and just being here is awesome. Like I built a life here in the past 15 years. So and my buddy Jeff, we went to high school together back in Ontario. I think I got a stone for the first time. We were like 13. We've been friends.
And now you're here.
Yeah. He moved out here before I did, but he lives up the street, so we hang out all the time.
Huh.
Yeah. So I think I'm here for a while, and I assume you are.
Yeah, I can't imagine going anywhere else. But the same as you, like when we go on holidays, we don't go to. Well, we do. We go to Big White and Red Deer and stuff like that to chase contests. But if we were going on a family trip, we go to Portland or Seattle or San Francisco because we want to be in a city where there's energy. And I think I really love learning. And I think if I, 25 years from now had kind of finished what I'm doing here, I might spend a couple years in Boston or New York just learning.
Do Tokyo or something, man. It'd be so cool. I think it's just the idea, there's a bit of like that allure of New York and those big cities where it's like, oh, like the just this idea of living in a big city and just seeing the awe of what's around you is kind of cool. It is industrial for sure, but it's just that contrast. I think that's what we a lot of people here, you get used to it and you want that contrast to keep you grounded as to why you're here. Yeah. But I would move to a big city if it was worth it and the job was cool. Yeah. I don't know what jobs are cool anymore. I don't really like working. But
hopefully this it turns into
Joe
Rogan.
I would love it. I could sit here. How
much does Joe Rogan make on his podcast?
I've heard there's an average of like $30,000 a podcast. That's what I've heard.
It has to be more than that.
Yeah, but average. So
there's no way
I don't know.
He has to make more than that.
Yeah, I don't know.
How many does he do? He's done 1,000.
He's done like 1,200 or something. He's been doing it for 9 years. Yeah, he has huge sponsors, right? I don't know. That's what I've heard because some do more or less, right? But he does like 4 a week. So if you do 4 a week, you make $30,000 every podcast. That's 120 grand a week, man.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not tiny.
No,
but it could be way more. I don't know.
I just think of him as like the.
Well, he kind of is, right? There was guys before him, like Adam Carolla, I think had one before, but they were like radio guys first. But he's the one who kind of like ran with it. But there was guys before him that were kind of the pioneers of it, and he just jumped on. He made it the shit. He made his thing unique and stuff.
And
but at first it was just him and
production value, which is the
but now there is for sure. But
really,
yeah, he's got a producer. He's got his studio is like he's.
No, but he just sits down and has a conversation.
Yeah.
Like this is
for sure.
I'm sure he does tons of prep. Like when the hometown hockey was in town, and Ron McLean, who's like he's talking to various kids that play hockey in town and interviewing people. The amount of research that they were doing on people, like, hey Ryan, like I heard that you like in grade 6 you scored 3 goals in one game, like, and this is like Ron McLean interviewing some kid who's 16 and they've just done all kinds of, so I'm sure Joe does tons of background research before he has a conversation.
Yeah, he does.
Very much a sit down and have a conversation.
It is for sure. Yeah. I think he has to. I mean, I'm getting there. I don't do a lot of research, but people I know. But he has people he doesn't know. But he gets requests to come on a show, but he'll pay people. He's like he does appearance fees. He flies people in to stay there and go on a show. Like it's not just them people just showing up. Yeah. But he's a smart guy. He's done tons of research, and he's just always trying to learn. From what I understand, what he says, and when you hear him talk, you're like, yeah, he's learning.
Oh yeah, no, super
smart. I would love to be that way one day.
Which is what I think is cool about his show is that it's. He's fascinated. He's learning. He's spending his time to actually learn something new every time he's in and it's not a debate. He's not trying to, I mean, sometimes it is, but he's not trying to convince you of anything. In fact, he's trying to understand what's going on in your head and what you think about things. And I think in the end, he goes away smarter or more
for sure
engaged than he was.
He's an interesting guy, man. He does, I think, he's got his opinions for sure, but I think he's really open to ideas. And even if your idea is not what he believes in, he's willing to hear it. Yeah. I think it's getting, from the comments I read, people assume it's getting less and less, but I still think he's pretty open-minded what he's doing. He wants he wants the world to be better. Mm-hmm. He wants to talk to good people and learn about what they're up to. And he also is, down to tell a good joke and talk shit for a while, not be responsible at all. But I think he's, man, if I could only be, 100th of his success, I'd be stoked on this for sure.
I've been loving watching. It's been fun.
Cool. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Well, I'm glad you're running our town, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's cool. It's really good.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we'll bring you on again.
I'd love to come back.
Cool.
Especially, when there stuff happening. Like
if you have something you want to, if you go, hey Proctor, I want to come talk to you.
Yeah.
Because if you share it, your people will see it, and I'll share it too. But don't wait for me to call you. I will again, but you can call me anytime for sure. Yeah, cool.
Right.
Thanks, man.
No problem.
All right.
Pleasure.
Yeah, that's great. That's really good. It's like 2 hours. So I'm about an hour and 40 minutes. I think.